Football, rising to glory as the strongest post player. Episode 111. Liverpool led 2-0 at home and Liverpool fans at Anfield were ecstatic, creating a frenetic home atmosphere from time to time. Li Qing led by 2 goals without even appearing. Wait until Li Qing comes off the bench. Arsenal still want to play? Liverpool fans have not been in such a relaxed state this season, and the team's top scorer Li Qing is still sitting on the bench with a 2-goal lead, which is equivalent to saying this game. Hold the cards in one hand. It wasn't until the 57th minute that substitute Sanchez crossed straight on the counter-attack to find Welbeck, who was defensive by Klein and Matip, who let the ball go in the middle of the run, followed the momentum into the box, and then completed a low left-footed shot before goalkeeper Mignol came out. The Anfield Stadium scoreboard showed 2 o'clock and instantly became 2-1. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp is clearly feeling the pressure from his opponents, with a 1-goal lead being the least safe score on the planet, so he needs the team to extend the score back to 2 goals in the shortest possible time. How to expand? Find Li Qing. The Arsenal players celebrated the goal excitedly. Klopp turned his head to look at the bench, did not need to look more, and said directly to Li Qing, "Li, come back in 10 minutes. Arnold, who entered the 18-person roster, looked at Li Qing with envious eyes, and when he turned his head again, Li Qing had already run to the warm-up area and ran back and forth simply. Li. Liverpool fans at Anfield Stadium saw familiar figures coming to the warm-up area, and they subconsciously erupted into a huge shout like a tsunami. Liverpool went from attack to defense again. The on-site director quickly gave the broadcast footage to the sidelines, and Lux Sports commentator Jean June changed his tone. Liverpool are now in an uncertain situation. Arsenal are only 1 goal behind. Klopp chose to send the youngster Li Qing is a wise choice. Arsenal are 5th in the game with 1 round to play. If they want to play in next season's Champions League, they must beat Liverpool away. There are more than half an hour to go. Arsenal must strengthen their attack if they want to win, so Liverpool will have a lot of counter-attacking opportunities. As long as Li Qing, who is extremely fast and technically good, can take a few of these opportunities, Liverpool will have no worries winning. Sky Britannia commentator Andy Gray laughed. "I thought Liverpool would win the game without bloodshed, and thus beat Arsenal twice, but now it seems this possibility is declining, but Jurgen Klopp still has a back move. His super shock Li is about to come off the bench. Arsene Wenger, ready?" The director at Anfield was obviously professional, and the broadcast screen once again gave the visiting coach command area, and Wenger, who had just celebrated the goal, looked at the warm-up area, his brows furrowed, obviously feeling a hint of pressure. Leicester City were led by Li Qing to lead Liverpool to 4 goals in a row. Some people may think that the defending champions have a lot of water, but Chelsea and Tottenham are strong enough, right? That was all defeated under Li Qing's excellent performance. Even if you are only 16 years old, you can't underestimate it. However, for Wenger, no matter what choice is made, it is very difficult, and the defensive loopholes that continue to strengthen are definitely enlarged, and the problem caused by not strengthening the attack is that the possibility of equalizing is small. With that in mind, Wenger decided to take a risk. Walcott, who was also very fast, left the bench and ran to the warm-up area. In addition, Wenger knew that his disciple Bellerin was also very fast, and as long as Li Qing appeared, he would let Bellerin switch places with Monreal, and Bellerin, who was excellent in speed and body, defended Li Qing. Fight back? Who is afraid of whom? At the same time, Laurana saw Li Qing go to the warm-up area, and he clicked in his heart. According to the recent substitution adjustment of head coach Klopp, 9 times out of 10, he traded himself for Li Qing, so he was excited to restart the game. Helplessly, his personal ability is really limited, and there is no way to bring decent opportunities to the team. On the contrary, Arsenal, who narrowed the scoreline, played a succession of wonderful matches under the leadership of Alexis Sanchez, but fortunately goalkeeper Minale performed well during this time, making high saves to keep the goal intact. Li Qing was anxious to watch the game, and the Liverpool fans in the audience were not worried, because their hope Li Qing was warming up, which means that he would come off the bench in a few minutes. Even if the score is behind, it is not a problem. If Li Qing could hear the fans' hearts, he would definitely roll his eyes. Am I really God? The minutes of the game passed by and Arsenal turned against the road, attacking wave after wave, so that Liverpool, sitting at home, could not dribble the ball past halftime. With Sanchez firing anti-aircraft guns on the left side of the attack, the referee on duty sounded the whistle and signaled a change on the sidelines. Ayo. Liverpool fans at Anfield Stadium subconsciously shouted to greet Li Qing, who was ready to play. Laurana subconsciously looked at the sidelines. It was indeed Li Qing who was ready to appear, but he was lucky, hoping that the red number displayed by the substitution electronic card was not 20. As a result, really 20. He sighed and ran to the sidelines. Although Lalana did not actually contribute in this game, he helped Liverpool create some chances in attacking up front, and Liverpool fans in the audience will not forget it, and they erupted into thunderous applause and gave Lalana the substitute. Papa Papaya. Le Sport commentator Zhang Jun's voice was obviously a little higher than the commentary in the previous few minutes. Chinese young player Li Qing came on as a substitute for Larana. I believe that Liverpool's attack will be greatly improved. Right now, Arsenal, who can't attack, are going to be in trouble. As soon as the substitution handover ceremony ended, a close-up of the on-site director was given to the visiting coach command area. Wenger's brow wrinkled a little more than a few minutes ago, and it looked like a twist rope. Minale opened a Bigfoot goal, the football flew to the right of the front field, and the Liverpool fans in the audience began to be excited, waiting for Li Qing's performance. Li Qing, who had his eyes on the soccer ball landing, noticed that Xhaka was coming from the right, and he was stuck in position in advance, while lowering his center of gravity, trying to stop the ball in front of him with his chest. Xhaka crashed directly into Li Qing's back from the right, and because Li Qing lowered his center of gravity early, 5 of the 10 attribute points that had previously been awarded by the Player of the Month system were added to strength, and the remaining 5 points were added to fitness and possession, of which 2 fitness and 3 possession points brought them to 70 and 80, respectively. Li Qing's current strength value has reached 70, and in the face of Xhaka's collision, he did not fly off the field like a kite off the line, he just had a somewhat unstable center of gravity, but he controlled the football during the stumbling process. Episode 112. Xhaka is very confident in his collision. Even if he is as strong as Giroud, he will be knocked forward a few steps, but he did not expect that Li Qing was not knocked out of the sideline by someone with the ball, and he was very surprised. Klopp, in the home team dugout, was standing near Xhaka, invading Li Qing, and his movements were clear. Originally, he was about to complain loudly about Xhaka's rude collision, but Li Qing stumbled 2 steps but did not fall to the ground, and his attention returned to Li Qing, who was in possession of the ball. Wenger was a little glad that Xhaka's collision was clearly aimed at Li Qing, and according to football rules, it was a yellow card. Fortunately, Li Qing did not suffer to the end, otherwise the yellow card would not have been able to run away, and he looked at Li Qing with a smile that rarely appeared in this game, still too young. At this moment, Li Qing slammed the football back with his right heel while facing the right sideline of the attack, and the football flew under the right rib of Xhaka, who was thinking about life, and accurately found Coutinho. The football came to the attacking right rib, which had much more space, and Xhaka stopped thinking about life and turned to pounce on Philippe Coutinho, who received the ball. Coutinho, who has a wide vision and a good ability to read the game, does not have possession. He gives the ball directly to Wijnaldum in the middle, who in turn gives it to Milner, who is pulled to the left. Make good use of the width of the course. Li Qing's substitute attracted a number of Arsenal defenders, resulting in the lack of Arsenal player defense for Milner, who received the ball on the left. According to the tactics explained by Coach Wenger before the game, right-back Bellerin was to switch positions with left-back Monreal, but the football came to the right side of the defense, and Bellerin, who came to the center, had to return to the right side. Milner came to the 30-meter zone with the ball before slowing down, and faced a surprisingly fast Bellerin, who chose to give the ball to Emre Can in the middle. Arsenal's defensive players on the left automatically leaned in the middle, and Li Qing ran along the right flank without being watched. After a few passes, Maine, who came to the left, swung away Bellerin to complete a cross, Mustafi forced Firmino to complete the header, the ball flew to the line of the big penalty area, and Coquelin in place leaned back to header, and the ball flew 30 meters from the goal. Wijnaldum saw the momentum of the football and directly used the inside of the arch of his left foot to give the ball pad to Li Qing, who was unmarked on the right side. Liverpool fans at Anfield Stadium subconsciously lengthened their voices to cheer for their new favorite. The Arsenal defenders gurgled in their hearts, and they all thought of the Li Qing game highlights they saw before the game, and Monreal and Xhaka hurriedly stepped forward to defend. Head coach Arsene Wenger saw the football flying towards Li Qing, and his hands were naturally clenched, obviously a little nervous. From his vision, Li Qing was unguarded. Monreal and Xhaka re-pulled out to defend is equivalent to a temporary patchwork, and the two are far and close to Li Qing, which is equivalent to saying that Li Qing may break one by one in this situation. Li Qing used the outer instep of his left foot to pull Wijnaldum's football to the ribs, and took the initiative to rush to Monreal with the ball. Monreal defensively experienced, and he knows what to do in this situation. Facing Li Qing with the ball forward, he chose to focus on the right side of his body, which is Li Qing's inner cutting route. According to the pre-match understanding, Li Qing is 1, and it is impossible to get off the bottom line on the right side of the attack. At this moment, Li Qing's right shoulder sank, Monreal's heart moved, and his body subconsciously wanted to pounce on the bottom line, but he remembered that Li Qing was left-handed and almost did not walk the bottom line, so he preferred to think that this was a fake action of Li Qing's change in his center of gravity. The next moment, Li Qing dunked the ball to the bottom line on the inside of the instep of his left foot, and Monreal realized something but could only look at the ball and sigh. The explosive power is too strong. Xhaka wanted to cut inside with Monreal, but Li Qing chose to break through to the bottom line, so he had to turn a corner and pounce on Li Qing, who took the ball into the box from the outside. Central defender Mustafi quickly filled in the defensive space left by Monreal, and the Arsenal players in the box immediately became nervous. The Liverpool players inside and outside the box are like wild horses, reduced to pieces, each looking for space. Li Qing, who entered the restricted area, looked up at the restricted area, and then raised his left foot. Xhaka, who was in the box at high speed, barely thought through his brain, reacted subconsciously, and his left foot forward, trying to block Li Qing's pass. But Li Qing did not pass the ball. He quickly put down his left foot, pulled the ball out of the outside instep, opened the distance with Xhaka, and then gently walked sideways to the middle of the penalty area, took a step forward with his right foot, and picked up his left foot again. "Oh my god," exclaimed Sky commentator Andy Gray, "should I say Granit Xhaka is too reckless, or is Li's fake too realistic? Pretty. Shoot, compared to the angle of shaking Xhaka, this angle is now more suitable for shooting." Mustafi, who was defensive, did not dare to slacken, and his good sense of position made him stand 1 meter away from Li Qing, with his hands behind him, and blocked Li Qing's shooting angle with his body as much as possible. Goalkeeper Petr Petrček was clearly aware that Li Qing had a shooting angle, and he held his breath, his body's center of gravity dropped, and his eyes were glued to the football. Wenger, who was standing in the coaching area of the visiting team, was desperate for Mustafi's defensive moves, and even stepping so far could see that Li Qing was fake. Why did this Mustafi shake? Li Qing's movements were exactly as Wenger predicted. He habitually fake a real dunk, and the inside of the instep of his left foot dunked the ball towards the right side of the small penalty area and the bottom line. Shoot dash. Shining sports commentator Jean Xiangkai turned around. "It's another fake shot, real buckle." Li Qing dangled past Mustafi and directly faced goalkeeper Petr Petrček. What would he do? Suddenly, the Arsenal players in the box became extremely nervous. Li Qing, who caught up with the football, did not shoot, and his right foot was his non-dominant foot, so he used the arch of his right foot to quickly sweep the football towards the middle of the penalty area. The football rushed to the middle of the small penalty area against the grass, and Firmino, who ran to the front point in advance, completed a right foot arch before Koscielny blocked. The soccer ball that changed its trajectory quickly rolled towards the near corner of the goal, and goalkeeper Petrček could not react to such a close shot, and could only watch the soccer ball enter the net against the inside edge of the right goal post. The ball went in. Luico sports commentator Jean June was ecstatic. Firmino scored his second goal of the game. Now the score is 3-1. Liverpool lead by 2 goals again. Firmino, who scored the goal, was so excited that he turned and ran to Li Qing, and the two hugged to celebrate the goal. Klopp's substitution once again shows fans around the world what it means to change a man like a knife. Li Qing, who came off the bench, assisted Firmino in his first attack. Speaking of this, Jean June changed his tone, but for Liverpool fans, this goal is both expected and unexpected. Episode 113. It was expected that Li Qing would score in his first attack in the first few games he played as a substitute, and it was unexpected that Li Qing was not a Liverpool attacking finisher. But for Liverpool fans, whoever scores is the same, as long as the team they support can score. Liverpool players celebrated the goal, Arsenal players shook their heads in frustration, and Sanchez, who was in good condition, sighed long, and said in his heart, "I can't move." Liverpool once again led Arsenal by 2 goals, and Klopp was not complacent, quickly bringing right-back Klein over after a simple celebration to explain some adjustments after the game was restarted. Wenger had no choice. The team was 2 goals behind and had to step up their attack, otherwise it would be difficult to score again over time. Before the game resumed, Arsenal made a substitution, with Walcott replacing the defensive defender Coquelin. As soon as the broadcast screen was given to the substitution electronic card on the sidelines, Lux sports commentator Jean June said in a deep voice, "Wenger is going to fight in the rest of the game." Klopp saw Wenger's substitution and looked over with interest. Walcott is characterized by speed, and a 2-goal lead on his side will definitely shrink the defense, and the space left behind him will inevitably decrease, so the sprint space that Walcott needs is gone. In that case, what is the use of replacing it? Do you want to use him as the second point in front of goal to complete the shot? According to Walcott's technique, it can barely be used as a second striker. Giroud was a beacon in front, and Walcott was poised behind him. The tactics are good, but I don't know how to use them. Klopp, who was clear of thoughts, looked at the court. To be precise, Li Qing. Every time the team replaced Li Qing, there would be an absolute scoring opportunity, and he believed that there would definitely be more in the next game. Li Qing, who averaged more than 2 goals per game, will not score in this game. This possibility, there is, but definitely not high. The game resumed, and the attacking Arsenal were surging and hit the Liverpool penalty area in the blink of an eye, and the highest point was Giroud because he was unable to jump in front of Kravenka, and the football was pushed out by Matip. Xhaka, who was ambushed in front of the big penalty area, chose to volley directly without stopping the ball, but unfortunately failed to eat the right part and fired an anti-aircraft gun from a distance. 2 minutes later, Arsenal's attack made a comeback, and Walcott received a header from Giroud and chose to stop and take the ball past Emre Can. During the run, he looked up at the position of the goalkeeper Minale. Theo Walcott. With the voice of Sky commentator Andy, Walcott pulled his foot and shot angrily about 28 meters from the door. The long-range shot was powerful, Minale was quick, knocked the football back with a single punch, Coutinho outside the box barbed to clear. Because the football landing point was not within Li Qing's running range, Arsenal continued to attack. Klopp, who was standing on the sidelines, hid some worries. Arsenal continued to attack, and their own players did not touch the ball a few times, which is very dangerous. However, Klopp's fears were quickly dispelled by Li Qing's excellent performance, and Li Qing's consecutive dribbling breakthroughs and limited opportunities caused Arsenal's Xhaka and Bellerin to receive 2 yellow cards in 3 minutes. 2 key players were shown yellow cards, and Arsenal's defense from attacking to defending became extremely tight, resulting in Monreal and Bellerin not daring to press too much in the team's attack, fearing that the space behind them would be used by Li Qing and Maine. In the blink of an eye, the game reached 75 minutes, this critical point of physical fitness. The players who started on both sides showed a significant decline in physical fitness, and in order to recover their fitness, the Arsenal players consciously slowed down the pace of attack. Bellerin, who was involved in the attack, completed a direct 45-degree cross with his right foot on the left flank, and the ball was picked up by Minale because the drop was closer to the goalkeeper. Minale received a direct run, and the right hand that grabbed the football jerked with the inertia of the body, and the ball quickly flew to about 20 meters away from the center line. There is Li Qing. Ayo. Liverpool fans at Anfield instantly became excited. Dragging his back, Xhaka pounced on Li Qing at the first time, even if he fouled. Li Qing's vision was wide, and Guang had already seen Xhaka running murderously from the right rear, but the football thrown by Mignol was running diagonally outward, and there was a bounce acceleration in front of him, and his heart suddenly moved. I saw that Li Qing took the initiative to run back a step, and his raised left foot seemed to be about to catch the ball, but suddenly gave way. Jean Jun, the commentator of Lexi Sports who was staring at the broadcast screen, raised his voice by an octave. Li Qing didn't catch the ball, he gave the ball away. At the same time, Li Qing used his super explosive power to move sideways to the right, using his right foot as the axis, completing a 90-degree turn to the right rear, facing the direction of the attack again, and then chasing the football that quickly rolled to the right with the turf. Xhaka, who was mentally prepared for a foul, did not expect that Li Qing would choose to let the ball turn over, and subconsciously followed the brakes to raise his right foot and try to trip Li Qing, who started. But Li Qing moved sideways to the middle in advance, and it was this step that made him deviate from the area that Xhaka's defense could cover. Bellerin was moved to the left after the team conceded the third goal, and he saw the ball flying towards Li Qing at full speed. Xhaka's defense helped Bellerin win time for high-speed defense, and Li Qing was extremely explosive, taking less than 2 seconds from first to fifth gear as he quickly chased the ball that appeared to deflect off the right sideline. Can't go out of bounds. Several previous counterattacks were blocked by Arsenal with fouls, and now that he finally got a chance, Li Qing naturally did not want to give up. Bellerin, who was back at full speed, gradually slowed down, because according to his judgment, the football was very likely to roll out of the right sideline before Li Qing could catch up. Logically speaking, they are all professional players, this judgment should be the same. Bellin is curious, why does Li Qing continue to chase? Out of defensive instinct, Bellerin runs back in a straight line. Li Qing's natural vertical arms swing rapidly, driving his powerful legs to accelerate alternately tiptoe, like a red supercar running to extreme speed, and countless grass clippings rolled up on the soles of his shoes. The live director gave a long-range shot, and fans in front of the TV could clearly see the football quickly approaching the right sideline. In the lower left corner of the picture, Li Qing, wearing the number 55 red shirt, approached the football that was about to roll out of the sideline at a speed visible to the naked eye. Leicester Sports commentator Jean Jun frowned. Can Li Qing catch up before the football appears? Oh my god, this is a race against football. Sky commentator Andy Gray exclaimed. Episode 114, Li. Liverpool fans at Anfield Stadium watched Li Qing, who was like stepping on Hot Wheels, not giving up chasing football, and they subconsciously burst into a deafening loud shout. Wenger, who is standing in the coaching area of the visiting team, is very satisfied with Bellerin's choice, although the football has a high chance of rolling out of the right sideline, but Li Qing is extremely fast. There is a certain possibility to catch up before the football out of the sideline, so Bellerin, who continues to retreat, can complete the defense effortlessly as long as he is stuck in the route where Li Qing is likely to wade forward. Li Qing chased the ball quickly. In order to maintain the balance of the body will definitely not slow down, choose to move the football forward, then it is particularly important to jam the position in advance. The forward speed of the football gradually decreases, but it is getting closer and closer to the right sideline, 1 meter, half a meter, 10 centimeters. Li Qing is 5 meters, 3 meters, 1 meter away from the football. The assistant referee standing in the defensive half of Arsenal held his breath and stared at the football, afraid that a distracted person would misjudge. Li Qing, who was running at high speed, kept his attention to the court at all times, and he saw that Ballon consciously stuck the route of the ball after he successfully saved the ball, and his eyes turned slightly. At the moment of the attack, Li Qing, who was running at high speed, stretched his right foot, and the inside of his instep pushed the football that was about to roll out of the right sideline forward. Due to the strong force, the football suddenly rushed forward more than 20 meters. Wenger raised his hand to signal that the football had deflected off the touchline, but the assistant referee did not think so. He shook his head to indicate that the football was not out of bounds. Football is not out of bounds. New England sports commentator Jean Xiangkai shouted excitedly, but whether it is out of bounds or not, wait for the slow-motion replay. Li Qing, who completed the poke, continued to rush at high speed along the right sideline, and the pupils of Ballon, who was stuck in the position in advance, shrank sharply, and between the electric flint, he chose to solve the siege between interfering with Li Qing and solving the encirclement. As long as there is physical contact during high-speed running, it is easy to fall to the ground, which is easy to cause the referee to blow the whistle, and Ballon has a yellow card on him, and he does not dare to risk another foul. Now the team is 1-3 down, and if they are sent off again, the game will really be out of play. Moreover, Ballon, who turned defender from winger, is known for his speed. He did not believe that he would be overtaken by Li Qing when he was in the lead. In terms of speed, he has absolute confidence. Except for only teammate Walcott, no one obeys. But Ballon forgot that Li Qing was running at full speed, and he was still a turn and start away from running at full speed. Fans in the main stand and the Centennial stand were like seeing a red bolt of electricity sweep across the stadium at high speed, crossing the halfway line at a speed visible to the naked eye and catching up with Ballon. Ballon Yuguang noticed that Li Qing was already on the same level as himself, and his heart clicked. Saying that it was too late, 5 meters blinked, and he found that Li Qing was faintly half a position ahead, and he was still widening the distance at the speed of the naked eye. The most attractive part of the Premier League arena is the ubiquitous physical confrontation, but the speed of the confrontation can also make people feel adrenaline pumping, and the fans in the audience subconsciously burst into a tsunami-like roar. Since the live director had been giving a long-range shot, fans in front of the TV could clearly see Li Qing's speed above Ballon's pump, and Sky commentator Andy Gray roared excitedly, "Li's speed is so fast." 35-year-old goalkeeper Petr Cech stands at the top of the arc of the penalty area and sees such a posture. Where can he dare to attack? Although the football is rolling quickly towards the bottom line, it is equivalent to saying that the football is getting closer and closer to him, but the distance between the two is at least more than 20 meters. As a 35-year-old goalkeeper, naturally dare not compare speed with the striker who is good at speed, even if the football is more than 30 meters away from Li Qing. For a striker running at full speed, a difference of 10 meters is not a problem at all. The horizontal position of Ballon and Li Qing was stretched to a position at a speed visible to the naked eye, and he ran towards the direction of the penalty area without slowing down, thinking that Li Qing, who was under pressure, would slow down or make a mistake at the moment of touching the ball. As it turned out, Ballon thought more, and Li Qing, who completed the outside overtaking, neither slowed down nor made a mistake, and when he ran to 40 meters from the bottom line, he used the outside instep of his left foot to lead the slowing football towards the middle of the penalty area during the run. Single knife. Li Qing's speed did not decrease, and Ballon ran at full speed but could not narrow the distance between each other, but he did not give up. Ballon, who is experienced in the game, knows that it is difficult to adjust his shooting footwork during high-speed running when he is too fast, and he will inevitably slow down when the time comes. Is that opportunity? Facing Petr Cech, who slowly retreated and constantly adjusted his position, Li Qing had already thought of the next countermeasures in his mind. The Liverpool fans in the audience did not make any more sounds, they stared at Li Qing, waiting quietly. Li Qing, who came diagonally to the left of the top of the arc in the big penalty area, slowed down the speed of dribbling, adjusted his footsteps, and looked up at the prepared Petr Cech. Ballon, who followed closely behind, seemed to be a shark that smelled blood, and rushed at full speed. Li Qing's right foot stood about 30 centimeters on the right side of the football, his left foot was raised, and Ballon stepped forward with his right foot in a high-speed run. The forefoot of his left foot slammed hard to the ground, his body's center of gravity dropped, and a textbook right-back sliding shovel appeared in front of fans around the world. The corners of Li Qing's mouth rose slightly, and he was about to kick the left foot of the football upwards and step on the football rolling forward. It's over. Ballon's eyes were full of despair, and his full-speed return of more than 70 meters seemed a little redundant at this moment. The high-speed tackle left a very obvious scratch in the penalty area. Li Qing lay the ball forward for another half a meter with the outside instep of his left foot, stood with his right foot to support, raised his left foot, and hit the middle of the football head-on. The football rushed forward against the grass. Goalkeeper Petr Cech's pupils shrank sharply, and he subconsciously closed his legs when he lowered his center of gravity, while sitting down on his butt. But Li Qing's shot was very powerful and very close, and Czech, who was 1.96 meters tall, closed his legs slightly slower by half a beat, and the football slipped between his legs and crashed into the snow-white net. "Goa won," Sky commentator Andy Gray shouted hysterically. Guest commentator Martin Taylor immediately blurted out, "Definitely more than 80 meters of long-distance attack. This goal scored so beautifully. Li's iconic goal. Incredible. The best goal of the round has appeared. No. This goal can definitely compete for the best goal of the season." Episode 115, Li Qing tricked the 80-meter Ballon with a feint, and Anfield Stadium had begun to create a feverish home stadium, believing that when he scored with a low left-footed shot, the audience was completely reduced to a sea of red joy. Li Qing, who scored the goal, did not celebrate the goal excitedly, just ran more than 80 meters all the way in an anaerobic state. Now to score the ball, he was taking a big gulp of fresh air, until his lungs felt a burst of comfort before turning to face his teammates who were running at great speed, high fives, and hugging the celebration goal. As Li Qing scored the ball, the scoreboard showed the score from 3-1 to 41. With more than 10 minutes left in the game, it basically means that Arsenal are back to nothing. The live director broadcast screen was given to Wenger, who was already 68 years old, with his expressionless hands in his pockets, but his eyes were intently looking at Li Qing, who was celebrating the goal. 16 years old, really young. Hey, Wenger sighed and turned his head to look at Klopp, who was shouting with his arms raised, his eyes full of envy. If Arsenal's youth academy has such a genius, why not revive? Immediately, the live director gave a slow-motion replay of Li Qing's entire goal, and fans sitting in front of the TV were able to feel the visual feast brought by the long-distance rush again. From the beginning of Minale's throwing the ball, to Li Qing's back to Xhaka to turn the ball and turn over, to the very ornamental speed to save the ball before rolling out of the right sideline, and then to the speed of Ballon, the speed is 3 points faster than Ballon, and finally the shot is extremely calm, low shot through the crotch. If Li Qing is a seasoned veteran, it's understandable, but he's only 16 years old, and this match is just the 4th Premier League game of his career. Coming off the bench to contribute a pass and a shot, is there anything better than that? Firmino scored twice? That's just him relying on team effort to score goals, Li Qing. It's about creating chances and solving goals on your own. The senior Liverpool sitting in the VIP seat frowned, thinking hatefully, how is this little guy only 16 years old? Can you get to 17 soon? The English Professional League has relevant rules, and the signing of a real professional contract requires the player to be at least 17 years old, which means that any club may take Li Qing away before he turns 17, and the money will not be too much. Compared with the current transfer fee of tens of millions of euros at every turn, 20 million euros to take away Li Qing, whose performance is gradually tending to stabilize, is definitely a very cost-effective deal. There is no shortage of smart people in this world. The top of the big club must be the best among smart people. Mendes, a famous agent sitting next to Liverpool CEO Peter Moore, smiled, and the better Li Qing performed, the higher his future income would follow. The current Li Qing is only 10, and the future? He has at least 2 decades left in his career. When Li Qing turns 17, not to mention tens of millions of euros from him every year, the guarantee can be at least 10 million euros. Mendes turned to Peter Moore, "Mr. Peter, don't be so nervous, we have a gentleman's agreement, I will not contact other clubs in private before Li is 18. Jorge Mendes is famous for his words in this acre of three-point land in the football circle." Peter Moore shook his head and smiled, "I have 100% trust in me, I am afraid of other clubs and the decisions made above." Mendes smiled at this piece and said no more. In his opinion, Li Qing's stay at Liverpool is a win-win-win situation. With Steven Gerrard's retirement, Liverpool now lack a self-cultivated superstar, and Li Qing can make up for this. As for the future, who knows? After a while, the broadcaster used high-tech means to calculate the running distance of Li Qing from turning around to completing the shot. 86.2 m. It took 9.07 seconds. It is equivalent to saying that Li Qing ran 9.52 meters per second, which is 34.27 kilometers per hour. But this speed data is Li Qing's average speed from start to completion of shots, not the top speed. Xining sports commentator Jin Xiangkai said in a high mood, "Li Qing's speed is really too fast. He dribbled the ball 86.2 meters in just 9.07 seconds, how fast is that? No wonder Bellerin can't catch up, even Walcott and Bell at their peak are hard to catch up, right? 16-year-old Li, the speed is shocking." Sky commentator Andy Gray exclaimed, "This data is obviously not fine enough, and I would like to know now what Li's fastest sprint speed is." Due to time constraints, the broadcaster returned the broadcast footage to the game site. Liverpool fans at Anfield were hysterically creating a purgatory-like horror home atmosphere, and neutral fans watching the game via live TV were shaken by the intention and consciously wanted to become a KOP fan. The mixed zone reporters focused all on Li Qing, who scored the goal, one after another, as if he didn't want memory. When the whistle blew at the end of the game, the scoreboard still showed the score at 41 and Liverpool won a hearty victory at home. The victory also gave Liverpool their first league double against Arsenal since the 1999-2000 season. With only Liverpool and Arsenal in the top 6 clash head-to-head, the other 4 teams are all against mid-range and lower-range teams, with the exception of Manchester United's home draw against Bournemouth, where Chelsea, Manchester City, and Tottenham have won their respective matches, and the top 6 positions have not changed in any way. In the regular post-match press conference, the visiting coach Arsene Wenger took the same initiative to take responsibility for the loss as the coach who generally loses, but there are still many reporters who are not spared and ask Wenger whether he should resign, because many Arsenal fans are now showing dissatisfaction with Wenger, and they believe that the club should be replaced with a more dynamic manager. In response, Wenger left the press conference scene early. Looking at Wenger's departing back, many reporters couldn't help but shake their heads, full of regret. Arsene Wenger, who has been in charge of Arsenal for 21 years, is clearly Arsenal's meritorious coach, but modern football is about results, regardless of qualifications, and can still finish in the top 4 in the Champions League in the past few seasons. Right now? It's the Europa League. Whether it is the prize money or the impact, the Europa League cannot be compared with the Champions League. How can Arsenal, as a world-class giant, participate in the Europa League in a row? Klopp, who attended the home team's regular post-match press conference, was in a good mood. From the end of January to the beginning of March, Liverpool have won 5 consecutive games, from 10 points behind to 5 points behind. Compared to Wenger's winding years, Klopp can now be described as a sky. Li Qing was not the best on the spot, but he still became the focus of media and fans with an average of 2 goals per game in the Premier League, so the reporter who asked the question asked Li Qing again. Klopp was prepared and coped with it easily and with ease. Those reporters who did not change their original intention were very depressed, even if they had already prepared. Episode 116. Around 9:30 p.m. local time in Great Britain, less than half an hour after the end of Liverpool's league game against Arsenal, there was a self-media announcement on INS that Li Qing contributed Liverpool's 4th goal. 86.2 meters took 9.07 seconds, that is, 9.52 meters/s, and the speed was 34.27 kilometers per hour. 9.07 seconds were built on starting, changing direction and dribbling, which is equivalent to saying that 34.27 kilometers/h is not Li Qing's real maximum speed. As a result, the data released by this self-media is shocking. Because Li Qing's overtaking Ballon's sprint speed is shocking, the sprint speed reaches an astonishing 37.2 kilometers per hour. What is a fast horse? That's the fast horse. You must know that the fastest sprint speed of football players who have been counted before is Rogen, who once ran 37 kilometers per hour. In addition to taking the data of Robin and Bell, self-media also used the 100-meter world record holder Usain Bolt as a reference. Usain Bolt's 100-meter world record is 9.58 seconds, equivalent to 37.578 kilometers per hour. A very small gap tells fans around the world how fast Li Qing really is. If you use Li Qing's top speed to calculate the speed of 100 meters, it is 9.67 seconds. You can compete for the 100-meter sprint title. Li Qing is only 16 years old, which means that he can run faster in the future. Of course, this data is not rigorous enough. In order to attract people's attention, the self-media is calculated with Li Qing's maximum speed, which is equivalent to ignoring the necessary time consumption of starting and accelerating halfway. However, Li Qing is a professional footballer, often requiring a distance of only 5 to 30 meters. Li Qing, who was idle, saw that there was self-media to calculate the time. He was very confident in his speed. Even if he added the starting and accelerating time, the 100-meter speed was definitely able to run 11 seconds. If you wait until your body reaches maturity and then practice sprinting-related skills, you may not be able to launch an impact within 10 seconds. Many fans on the internet have no IQ, listening to the wind is rain, so many fans have called on Li Qing to stop playing football. Simply go to practice sprinting, maybe you can get an Olympic championship. Li Qing was speechless when he looked at these comments. Do you have to practice sprinting if you are fast? Besides, playing soccer is much more fun than sprinting. The media thousands of miles away also had a clear and detailed report on Li Qing's speed, which shocked the vast majority of domestic fans. Li Qing is only 16 years old, and when his body is fully developed, how fast will that be? There are fans thinking. Or planning to come back to the Olympics? With the first leg of the 2016 to 2017 Europa League/8 final set to start next Thursday, it stands to reason that Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho should focus on the first leg of the Europa League 1/8 final for the time being, but he believes the FA Cup double will be more important. For many Manchester United fans, the Europa League can be ignored and the double red club must not lose, and Jose Mourinho, as the manager of Manchester United Manchester Devils, knows this. Moreover, Rostov's overall strength is limited, and it is obviously more important to host Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter-final next weekend. 37.24 km/h is too exaggerated, right? Mourinho looked down at the data analysis report on Li Qing and frowned. As an experienced coach, he always keeps a cool head. In fact, he does not need this latest data to be widely known for his amazing speed. FA Cup 5th round against Wolves, League Round 23 at home against Chelsea, home to Tottenham, Arsenal. Every game showed his exceptional pace, and Mourinho was lost in thought. Half an hour passed, 2 hours passed. Mourinho, who worked overtime, sighed, and he originally wanted to win Liverpool by attacking at home, but he finally chose to focus on a steady counterattack. Li Qing's speed and good skills at his feet, with Manchester United's current battered defensive line, it will certainly be difficult to complete high-quality defense in high-speed operation, and if you want to win the game, you must play steadily, shrink the defense, and avoid the first mistake in your own defense, so as to catch Liverpool's mistakes. Liverpool end their league game at home to Arsenal and focus on the FA Cup quarter-final at Old Trafford next weekend. For Liverpool fans, the double will be even more important than the Merseyside Derby, England's recognised national derby, and Klopp naturally knows this as Liverpool manager. However, before that, Klopp, who was in a good mood at home, gave the whole team 2 days off, including those who did not make the 18-man squad, which was equivalent to saying that the entire Melwood training base was given a rare vacation. Li Qing, who received a 2-day vacation, did not return to Melwood to practice, because Melwood's staff also had a holiday. Li Qing spent the first day of the holiday at school, and the time spent immersed in the ocean of knowledge passed very quickly and sufficiently, and his second holiday was spent in the morning to continue school, and in the afternoon he secretly took the train to Manchester according to the plan. He wanted to surprise Tong Shinbing. Li Qing has performed well in limited appearances and is already a household name in England, and he goes out with a black mask in order to surface unnecessary trouble. It's not that Li Qing is now becoming more and more famous and has the intention of playing big names, but he wants to have some personal space of his own. Liverpool train station is less than an hour's drive from Manchester train station, and he is familiar with Manchester railway station and catches a taxi to the University of Manchester. Since Li Qing and Tong Shinbing confirmed their relationship on Valentine's Day, the two said nothing, so Li Qing knew Tong Shinbing's course arrangement, and did not need to call to inquire. He pulled a passing Manchester University student to know where the course classroom where Tong Shinbing was classing. Since the last Valentine's Day farewell, Li Qing has not seen Tong Shinbing with his own eyes for almost a month, and he misses it very much. It took less than 10 minutes to find the Manchester Business School building, and then the classroom on the right side of the second floor. Since it was class time, the students were attracted by the lively explanation of the teacher and did not notice that someone was looking in outside the window. Tong Shinbing had fair skin, and it only took Li Qing a few seconds to find Tong Shinbing, who was sitting in the fourth row in the middle of the classroom. He grinned and slipped in through the back door of the classroom. Episode 117. The teacher in the class is a famous professor in the field of finance, not very old, but the explanation is very vivid. People can't help but produce a kind of concentration. Sitting in the fourth row, Tong Shinbing listened attentively, nodding from time to time in approval. At this moment, a boy with a black mask gently patted her left shoulder, and a deliberately low voice came out. "Beautiful young lady, can you sit inside?" There are often students who are late for college classes. Tong Shinbing has also had this experience, did not think much. She did not even turn her head to look at the boy with a black mask next to her, just took her bag and textbook and moved 2 positions, raised her head slightly, and focused her attention on the teacher in class again. Li Qing glanced at Tong Shinbing playfully, took out his mobile phone, and sent a WeChat. Tong Shinbing, who was in class, felt that the mobile phone in her bag vibrated significantly, and she frowned slightly, but she was addicted to the ocean of knowledge, and finally chose to go to class first and wait until the class ended. Li Qing sent several more expressions in a row, waiting for Tong Shinbing's reaction. The mobile phone in the bag vibrated continuously, and Tong Shinbing just frowned and did not take out the mobile phone from the bag. Li Qing, who felt bored, did not play with his mobile phone again, and he also looked up at the passionate teacher on the stage. Ding ding dash. When the bell rang, Li Qing had a feeling of unfulfilled thought, but he knew that he had more important things, so he stretched out, stood up, walked out of the classroom like the students in the classroom, stood outside the window, and looked at Tong Shinbing, who took out his mobile phone. Just as he thought, Tong Shinbing smiled and replied to several WeChat messages in a row. "I was in class just now, and I'll get back to you right after class. Don't you have to train today? By the way, it will be the Double Red Club in a few days. Is there a bottom in my heart?" Li Qing smiled and replied to a WeChat, "Did you miss me?" Tong Shinbing, who packed up the books, blushed slightly, rolled his eyes, and replied with 2 words, "No." Just as Li Qing was about to make an angry expression, 2 more words appeared in the chat window between him and Tong Shinbing. "It's strange." Sure enough, it didn't hurt in vain. Li Qing muttered, but the movements on his hand did not stop, and he sent another WeChat. Honey, by the way. Have you ever fantasized that I would suddenly appear in front of you? Yes. Tong Shenbing quickly replied, and then sent another text, but you don't come to Manchester to see me. Li Qing was like a 30-year-old strange uncle seducing underage girls, and this time he directly sent a voice. I said if I appear in front of you, what will happen to you? After speaking, he quickly flashed to the side. According to his understanding of Tong Shenbing, she would definitely look around suspiciously to see if she would engage in a surprise attack. Tong Shenbing's reaction was the same as Li Qing's guess, and she really looked around the classroom. Sighing, he pressed his hands back and forth on the phone screen and replied with text, humph. No ifs. Li Qing stood back out the window, stared at Tong Shenbing, who was about to get up, and sent out a voice with a smile. You are really ruthless. If I appear before you, can you not give me a neck below the benefits that cannot be described? Little Qing, you are getting worse and worse, and you can't describe it from the neck down. You want to be beautiful. After listening to the voice, Tong Shenbing huffed and sent out a voice. Hee hee. Li Qing covered his mouth. Tong Shenbing really couldn't take Li Qing, thinking that if it was anyway, he wouldn't suffer a loss, so he said, okay, good, but it must appear in front of me within 10 seconds, otherwise it won't count. A gentleman's word, forget it, you are not a gentleman, but I hope you keep your promise. There is voice testimony, are you still afraid of me? It's not for nothing that you're not bad. Li Qing. Li Qing heard the anger in Tong Shenbing's words, and clicked on the WeChat video call with a smile. Tong Shenbing faintly seemed to feel something in her heart, and she looked around again and found that in addition to the classmates who were in class together, she really did not find the insidious Li Qing. The video call is connected, and it is not the familiar face that appears on the phone screen, but her side. Tong Shenbing subconsciously turned to look at the window, rolled his eyes that were enough to seduce the soul, and said in his heart, this guy. Isn't it the masked boy who just sat next to him? It's so insidious. You scoundrel. Tong Shenbing picked up the school bag and mobile phone and took the initiative to quickly walk out of the classroom, came to Li Qing, who took off half of the mask and smiled, and smashed the school bag in his hand. Li Qing took the bag that Tong Shenbing did not smash with much force, hung it on his right shoulder by the way, grabbed the soft and boneless little hand with his left hand, and said with a smile, everyone watch, go, let's go to the Grove. Tong Shenbing is a more famous beauty at the University of Manchester. Naturally there is no shortage of admirers in school. Seeing the goddess in her heart being held by a boy wearing a mask, her eyes are releasing murderous aura. If the eyes can kill a person, then now Li Qing is already 10,000 arrows through the heart. Tong Shenbing also noticed the gaze from her classmates. Her white face was covered with a faint red cloud, and the right hand tightly held by Li Qing did not struggle, walking with a small lotus step behind her. Coming to the famous Grove of Manchester University, Li Qing took off his mask, quickly leaned forward his neck, and lightly touched between Tong Shenbing's lips for unknown reasons. What are you doing? Tong Shenbing, who reacted, looked at Li Qing dissatisfied. Li Qing spread his hands and looked innocent. Didn't you say that if you appear in front of you, you will kiss? Tong Shenbing. The two held hands and walked to the school gate. Tong Shenbing suddenly remembered something, and she looked at Li Qing with apologetic eyes. Xiao Qing, sister, I will do a part-time job later. I may not be able to accompany you. Can't you not accompany me part-time? Li Qing looked at the beauty in front of him and asked subconsciously. Tong Shenbing was speechless. If you don't work part-time, you support me? Li Qing now has an income of £10,000 every week, and he almost blurted out in his heart, yes, I don't want you to raise it. Tong Shenbing was very moved in his heart, stood on tiptoe, and took the initiative to reach out and hug Li Qing's waist. Xiao Qing, my sister knows your intentions, but my sister I want to be self-reliant, but I received your wishes. Although Li Qing just said it casually, as long as Tong Shenbing nodded, he was also very willing. To love her is to give her a stable and happy life. Li Qing gently stroked Tong Shenbingliu's waist with his left hand, stroked his long black and thick hair with his right hand, and said affectionately, if you are short of money, you can tell me that my weekly salary is £10,000 now. So many? Tong Shenbing's pupils shrank slightly, and said with a smile, I already knew that I promised to let you raise me. It's still too late to repent. Don't be, sister, I want to be a strong woman in the future. When the time comes, buy a football club and let you work for me. Episode 118, you don't believe it? Tong Shenbing held his proud head high. Li Qing smiled and stretched out his hand on Tong Shenbing's shoulder. What if there really is a day? What about working under you? Again. Who are we with whom? I'll work for you during the day, and you'll give it to me in the evening. What did you say? Li Qing's smile was stiff, and he endured the pain from behind his waist, revealing a smile that was even uglier than crying. I said that there will really be a day when I will work for you during the day, and work for you at night, so that you can be comfortable for 2 hours. Before he finished saying this, Li Qing felt the pain behind his waist even stronger. Tong Shinbing's part-time job starts at 6 p.m. and lasts until 9 p.m., and Li Qing bought the train ticket back to Liverpool for the twilight train ride back to Liverpool that morning because he had to participate in training at Melwood Training Base tomorrow morning. Just after 9 o'clock, Tong Shinbing ran out happily from the Brazilian barbecue restaurant, jumped directly on Li Qing, the kind with his feet between his waist, and asked with concern, "Have you eaten? Don't look at what time it is." Li Qing gently put down Tong Shinbing and casually took the soft and boneless little hand. "Go, send you back to the dormitory." The two walked side by side, and Tong Shinbing asked curiously, "Why did you send me back so early?" "Yes," Li Qing said with a smile. Tong Shinbing, who was deeply affected by the internet meme, couldn't hear what Li Qing meant. She blushed and glared at Li Qing fiercely. "Can you still be a little more rogue? Are you sure you're here?" Li Qing was thick-skinned and said with a smile. Tong Shinbing was completely defeated by Li Qing. She rolled her eyes and walked quickly in front, not knowing if she was angry. "Tomorrow I have to train in the morning. I bought the Twist train." Li Qing smiled and quickly followed, put his left hand on Tong Shinbing's shoulder, and took out his mobile phone with his right hand to take a look. "There is still about an hour, just to send you to the dormitory. I will take a taxi to the train station." "Well." Tong Shinbing nodded his head with a slight disappointment. Li Qing, who returned to Liverpool's home, suddenly remembered that there seemed to be the second leg of the Champions League 1/8 final on this evening, which was considered by many fans to be suspected of match fixing, and he has not forgotten it so far. Paris Saint-Germain home 40 Girona in the first leg, and Barcelona, who returned to Camp Nou in the second leg, scored 3 goals in a row in the final 7 minutes to achieve an epic comeback with a 6-1 victory over successive counterattacks without Le Saint-Germain. Later, Barcelona seemed to be out of the Final Four and was scooped up by which team, but clearly remembered that Barcelona spent the next 2 seasons to pay off debts. In the first leg of the 2017-2018 Champions League season, Barcelona beat Roma 41 at home, and Barcelona, which has an absolute strength advantage, should have advanced, never expected that they lost 0-3 away and were eliminated due to fewer away goals. In the semi-finals of the 2018-2019 Champions League, Barcelona beat Liverpool 3-0 at home and 0-4 goals away. Li Qing turned on the TV when the game was already at the end of the second half, and in the 84th minute, the score in the upper right corner of the TV was 3-1, and Barcelona was ahead. He originally wanted to take a shower or something, but seeing that the game came to this stage, only 10 minutes before Barcelona's epic comeback, he sat on the sofa with his mobile phone and watched the game while reporting safety. He was a little looking forward to it, wondering if this match would change like the second leg of the January 8 final that ended yesterday night at King Power Stadium. Ranieri, who was supposed to lead the team to play the first leg of the Champions League 1/8 final, left class half a week early, and the Shakespeare League team that took over was affected by Liverpool's Jedi counterattack, and the players' confidence was greatly frustrated, directly causing Leicester City to be forced to draw by Sevilla, thus missing the last 8 of this season's Champions League. The game on TV came to 87 minutes. Neymar created a direct free kick on the left edge of the big penalty area and personally handled it. Li Qing looked up at the TV. Speechlessly, Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper Trapp has moved to the right, and the football has also flown to the top right corner of the goal, but he did not reach out to pounce, but watch the football hit the net. Slow motion gives several angles, and it seems that Trapp seems to have a problem. The horse's free kick is indeed tricky, but the goalkeeper will have a save with anticipation and movement, and he. No. A minute later, the referee awarded Suarez another penalty for what appeared to be a fake fall. Neymar, who took the penalty, went on to make it 5-1, and Barcelona wanted to be one more goal away from promotion. In the final minute of stoppage time, Barcelona won a free kick on the right flank and goalkeeper Ter Stegen also went into the box. Neymar, who opened the free kick, received a ball from Edinson Cavani, fake a shot that dangled a defender, and then used his left foot to pass to the back of the box. Sergio Roberto successfully reversed the offside and flew to shoot a shot that helped Barcelona perform a miracle in the final tens of seconds of the game, beating Paris Saint-Germain 6-1. The Barcelona players who broadcast the footage were ecstatic, the Camp Nou stadium went crazy, and Paris Saint-Germain manager Emery seemed to be falling on the sky, and did not react for a while. This? Just eliminated? Li Qing shook his head, obviously his little butterfly had not affected this game. The next day, Li Qing still came to Melwood Training Base early to participate in team training. The atmosphere of the team's training is the same as the focus of fans and media around the world, all discussing the miracle that Barcelona did at Camp Nou yesterday night. Li Qing did not join his teammates in the discussion, focusing on preparing for Sunday's FA Cup one-quarter match at Old Trafford. Having played a number of bench games, he would love to start on the away game against Manchester United. He wants to conquer manager Jurgen Klopp with his performance. As the Europa League matchday comes to an end, in addition to the Barcelona fans who are still showing off, most of the media and fans are turning their attention to the British Peninsula. Manchester United host Liverpool, England's famous double red, national derby. However, compared with the past glory of both teams, there is now a sense of brotherhood. It's not that Manchester United and Liverpool are currently in the same league, but with the retirement of Alex Ferguson, the temperament that dominates the Premier League is gone. Liverpool, who have won the Champions League 5 times, have now been reduced to missing the Champions League for 2 consecutive seasons. Although the two teams are no longer brilliant, they are very well known around the world and have a very high fan base, so they are destined to attract a high degree of attention. Add in Jose Mourinho and Jurgen Klopp, and there are more fans waiting for the double red to begin. Episode 119. The die-hard fans of Manchester United and Liverpool are different from ordinary fans. They are affected by the feud between the two teams in recent decades, which has nothing to do with the historical development of the two cities. It is a pure football feud. In 2002, Manchester United coach Alex Ferguson, who was interviewed by The Guardian, once said something that uplifted the hearts of Manchester United fans: "The greatest achievement of my life is to kick Liverpool off the throne of the horse." You can print that sentence. It can be seen that the feud between the two teams in football is indeed not small. At the beginning of Ferguson's tenure in the 80s, the entire English football and even the European continent were the era of Liverpool, and Liverpool won an incredible 16 English top-flight titles under the hard work of 4 famous coaches: Bill Shankly, Bob Paisley, Joe Fagan and Kenny Dalglish. Manchester United, on the other hand, has only 7. At that time, Liverpool used a red dynasty full of colours to trample Manchester United under their feet. Symbolising the Champions League title at the top of European football, Liverpool has 4 and Manchester United has 1. It was in this context that Ferguson embarked on a legendary path to turn the tide. Over the next 3 seasons, Liverpool won 2 League One titles and won a staggering 18 top-flight titles. The feud between Manchester United fans and Liverpool fans in modern times mainly comes from the 25th round of the Premier League in the 1993-1994 season, when the new king Manchester United challenged Liverpool at Anfield Stadium, leading by 3 goals in the first half and 3 goals in the second half to defend their home glory. Liverpool fans at that game unfurled a sign at Anfield: "Goodbye Cantona, Manchester United, come back after 18 titles." Such slogans completely uncovered the scars of Manchester United fans, and in the decades since, Alex Ferguson's Manchester United have risen to the bottom and won one title after another, while Liverpool have fallen to the bottom. United won 3 consecutive Premier League titles in 2006 to 2007, 2007 to 2008 and 2008 to 2009, equaling Liverpool's number of top-flight titles, and countless Manchester United fans were in tears. 13 years after Liverpool fans unfurled signs at Anfield, Manchester United fans waved a giant banner over Anfield for 90 minutes. "You told us to come back when we won 18 league titles, and we're back now." In the post-Ferguson era, United won 2 more seasons of league titles. Manchester United's top league champions beat Liverpool 2018, and Liverpool has not won a top-flight title since the establishment of the Premier League, which is equivalent to saying that the ratio of Manchester United to Liverpool in the Premier League era is 13-0. Today's Liverpool fans are not in front of the league titles, but they are also proud of themselves. 5 Champions League titles. Left for the pride of Liverpool fans, also 5 Champions League titles. Li Qing, as a member of the Kirkby Academy, knows the feud between the two teams, so he can only say 4 words: "Sure ye fate." The Ferguson's era was extremely brilliant, with 1 Premier League title, 4 League Cups titles, 5 FA Cups titles, 10 Community Shields, 2 Champions Leagues, 1 Club World Cup, 1 European Cup Winners' Cup and 1 UEFA Super Cup. Now Manchester United has fallen into a trough. On the contrary, Liverpool will return to the top. The local media for Liverpool and Manchester engaged in a war of words, and fans from both sides soon joined in, and as the match approached, the names of the two teams began to interject a few words. The hot double red meeting, visiting to challenge Manchester United, Li Qing is full of energy to appear in the starting lineup. Speaking to Sky Sports, Liverpool legend John Barnes said, "Jose Mourinho and Manchester United will certainly face a very difficult choice against the rejuvenated Liverpool. Do they choose to attack at home or defend? I think Manchester United should put a bus at Old Trafford." Manchester United legend Gary Neville joined the fray, responding suspiciously at INS, "Some guys just run trains with their mouths full. What do you say you brought to Liver's Premier League era? Premier League winner? Champions League winner? FA Cup winner? No. You have nothing." Before John Barnes could speak, Liverpool legend Carragher responded at INS, "Shame on the guy who was thrown to Spain. Do you deserve to discuss Liverpool too? Fuck off." The double red club will surely end in victory for Liverpool. In the end, he deliberately at Li Qing's INS account. Obviously, Carragher's confidence comes from Li Qing. Li Qing, who was bored in the evening, just opened INS and saw the follower at himself, so he clicked in to take a look, and immediately rolled his eyes. This The famous character is going to pull himself off the battlefield. In addition to the media war of words between Manchester and Liverpool in the past 2 days, fans and celebrities also enjoyed it, but what they didn't expect was that they were also forced to participate. Character at Li Qing, as a genius of the Red Army's Liverpool Academy, he naturally has to make a statement to stabilize the army's heart. Set a small goal that can be achieved, such as 2 goals ahead of him? Li Qing's retweeted comments were instantly supported by Liverpool fans, and the fans who understood the ball emperor who took a screenshot of Li Qing's INS account praised, "What a person. This terrier is so good to use." But I think I know Manchester United fans will be blowing up. Sure enough, Manchester United's diehards who know the ball emperor turned on the wild spray mode. Fortunately, Li Qing has not logged in to understand the ball emperor for a while, otherwise he will be depressed. In the blink of an eye, Manchester United's FA Cup one-quarter match at home to Liverpool was only 2 days away, and Li Qing continued to perform well in training, causing the opposing players to complain bitterly. Assistant coach Bovac saw it in his eyes and leaned next to Klopp. "Jurgen, do you say you want to put Li in the starting list?" "Starting list?" Klopp looked up at the pitch and saw Li Qing on the attacking right flank with Emre Can, Lucas, and Arnold crossed to assist Maine to score. Bovac looked at Klopp unexpectedly. He was just casually talking, but he didn't expect to agree. In fact, Klopp is well thought out. Li Qing has performed amazingly since his debut. Such a big thing as the Double Red Club, the team naturally has to do its best, and Li Qing. He is now an indispensable member of Liverpool's attack. Perhaps Li Qing can be the most powerful off the bench, but the starting appearance can bring the most pressure to Mourinho and Manchester United. Even if he can't score, can't he be a tactical suppression? Episode 120. According to the regular schedule of the Premier League, Liverpool's one-quarter match away to Manchester United was to host Burnley the day before. But considering that the next day was the FA Cup one-quarter match, this round of the league was automatically postponed, with the FA Cup as the mainstay. The top 6 Premier League finishes have not been delayed except for Manchester City, which started 2 days early, as did Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Manchester United. Chelsea, who failed to qualify for the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, played as scheduled in the league game at home to Watford, and Liverpool are paying attention to this game. The current difference between the two teams is 5 points. This round of Liverpool's league is automatically postponed, which also means that Chelsea have a first game. If Chelsea beat Watford at home, Liverpool, who start the next round of the league, will certainly be under pressure to fall 8 points behind with fewer and fewer league rounds. Conversely, if Chelsea lose or draw, Liverpool, who have one less round, may use the opportunity of the playoff to narrow points. However, Chelsea, sitting at home, did not give Liverpool that chance, and they narrowly beat the Hornets. Watford, who have robbed the rich and helped the poor this season at home 43 to extend their advantage in the table to 8 points. Chelsea's home win over Watford was to be expected, with Liverpool up and down only slightly regretting that their attention was ultimately on the double red. Manchester United's FA Cup quarter-final at home to Liverpool, the last of 4 FA Cup knockout matches, took place at 8:45 p.m. on March 13, with the entire Liverpool team departing for Manchester that morning. The first 3 one-quarter games ended without accidents. Manchester City beat Middlesbrough 2-0 away, Arsenal 5 o'clock at home to Lincoln City, Tottenham Hotspur 6-0 at home to Millwall. It is worth mentioning that Stick international Son Heung-min scored a hat-trick and won the best of the match. The placement of the Double Red Club in the last match was clearly deliberate by the FA in order to focus all the eyes of the world on this battle of focus. Many journalists come to Manchester in order to get useful news information up close, whether it is a newspaper that has long been typeset in England or the latest developments of players, they can be sent back to China as first-hand information. After all, not every fan in China will climb over the wall, and not every fan can understand the original English report. Manchester United is the most successful football club since the establishment of the Premier League, and it is now the football club with the highest market value and the largest revenue, and has a large number of fans in the country. Liverpool, as the team with the most Champions League wins and the second most English top league among the Premier League giants, also has a large number of fans in China. Its demand. Closer to home, the Liverpool team was travelling by bus to Manchester to stay at a hotel, and before the car was parked, a very unfriendly voice from Manchester United fans came from the window. Li Qing glanced out the window at the Manchester United fans, who were clearly not doing this for the first time, familiar with the road, banners, slogans, and insulting posters. In the crowd, he saw Manchester United fans holding up banners and slogans insulting him, and snorted coldly, "The scolding is so fierce, but Manchester United is the one who bears the consequences for you." In his mind, there was already a scene into the picture. Mighty self and silent Old Trafford. Hey! What a beautiful picture. After a short break at noon, the team heads to Old Trafford at 2 p.m. for a short acclimatization. Li Qing stood in the middle of the stadium and looked around. He found that Old Trafford seemed to have nothing special to offer except for its larger capacity. Theatre of Dreams? that. Tonight, this stadium will be my stage. 2 hours before the start of the game, Liverpool players took the bus from the bustling streets of Manchester to Old Trafford, and Manchester United fans were naturally at work on the bus. Boos, insults, endless streams. The bus arrived at Old Trafford half an hour later, and there was a long line at the entrance to the stadium, and these fans saw the Liverpool bus coming, and the tacit agreement erupted into a huge booing like a tsunami, which was delivered to the arriving Liverpool players, coaches, and staff. Woo woo woo. Wild boos came to his face. Li Qing pouted and said, "I really want to see the moment when they shut up." "Hee hee, you will definitely see it." Arnold, who was sitting next to him, said. Firmino in the front row also came over to talk. "Didn't you set a small goal? 2 goals ahead of Manchester United, won't the theatre of dreams shut up?" "Yes, Lee, your little goal can be achieved." The Liverpool players were active and unaffected by the Manchester United fans outside the car. When the bus drove to the intersection, Li Qing saw the famous 3 holy statues of Old Trafford, that is, the statues of Bobby Charlton, George Best and Dennis Law, and couldn't help but think, in a few years, there should be a statue of yourself outside Anfield Stadium, right? The boos from Manchester United fans began to become loud from Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp getting off the car, straight into the sky, and the loud noise made Li Qing feel extremely irritated. Even if he closed the visiting team's dressing room, he could feel the buzzing sound in his ears, like hundreds of flies flying around his ears, and the situation gradually returned to normal after 5 or 6 minutes. This shows how loud the boos are from Manchester United fans. Manchester United and Liverpool are at odds in football, and when the visiting players emerged from the unique tunnel at Old Trafford, Manchester United fans who arrived early at the Theatre of Dreams once again created a feverish home atmosphere and gave the visiting Liverpool players a dismount. Why is the Old Trafford player tunnel unique? Unlike the usual stadium player tunnel entrance built in the middle of the stadium's main stand, so as to facilitate the entry of players from both sides, La Trafford is built in the southwest corner of the stadium, and there is a stretchable awning in the corner leading to the stadium to prevent aggressive Manchester United fans from throwing dangerous objects at the visiting players. At this time, Manchester United and Liverpool's FA Cup one-quarter match starting list also appeared on the official website. Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho frowned as he looked at the starting list handed over by his assistant, the last thing he wanted to see appear on Liverpool's starting right wing. Who? Li Qing. Why? Manchester United now fullbacks are slightly more reliable, except for Luke Shaw, Damien, Valencia, Blind and Ashley Young are all pits. The problem is Luke Shaw is injured. How to break?